You're listening to the PR Wind Down Podcast, the show for public relations professionals who are ready to see real change in the PR industry. We are your hosts, April White and Laura Schooler. Let's get ready to wind down. So Laura, how have you been? Did you do anything fun for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, sure, but nothing like to write home about. How about you?
I did some fun things. I went down to Cave Creek.
Oh, I love that.
You have no idea what that is. It's north of Phoenix and it's super beautiful. It's like ranch land where everybody's houses are worth millions and millions of dollars. And it's super beautiful. And there was a Mexican restaurant built around a pond where they have ducks and koi and turtles. It's like really cool. And so it's all outdoors, right? Because it's Phoenix, right? Where it never gets that cold.
Right. Are there a lot of wolves? I hear there's new wolf populations out there in the world, in the country. Have they overtaken Arizona yet, or is that?
I had a wolf near me, but it was about a year or two ago. But it followed us. I had my dogs on a walk, and all of a sudden, and luckily they were on leash, which a lot of times they're off leash because it's just ranch land or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Happened to be on leash, and all of a sudden I turn around, and this wolf is following us like 10, 15, 20 feet behind us. Just like joining the pack, taking a walk with us.
Oh my God.
And I turned around and I was like, get out of here. You're not part of this. Go away. And it did.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
Were you dying? I would have died.
I mean, I live in the wilderness and there's lots of predators, cougars, coyotes. But the funny thing was then for a while, it seemed like it had decided to live with us. Like I think it had gotten lost and it didn't have a pack. And
you were its wolf pack?
I have a pack, right? I have a pack of dogs. So it was like, cool, I'm part of your pack. So it'd sit out the fence every morning and howl. And I got kind of attached to it, to be honest, because I was like, this is kind of cool, but also like probably we should make this go away. And then not long after, this is actually quite funny, but so we worked with Dr. Oli for a while, who is the veterinarian for Arizona and a bunch of other wildlife parks. Mm-hmm. And also he does a lot of capture and release things, right? Because he's the guy that you call on for this. Mm-hmm. And he told me that there was a stray gray wolf that wasn't supposed to be over near me. And they had to go fly in and pick it up, fly it back to where it was supposed to be. Because essentially what had happened is it was a juvenile that hadn't yet come into puberty. And so it was not as prone to stay in the area where the females were.
Right.
And so it sort of lost its way and decided to just, do its own thing. Yeah. Yeah. So they had to relocate it because it was where, they're trying to keep them in select areas. But because I said something, people are, there's no wolves out here. I was like, it was for sure a wolf. I know my coyotes and I know my wolves, and it was definitely a wolf. Like, there's no question it was a wolf, size and everything. Like,
jeez.
Definitely a wolf.
I mean, my only perspective on a wolf is the movie American Werewolf in London, and that was very scary.
Here's the thing, though. Wolves are actually slightly less scary to me than coyotes.
Really?
Yes, because wolves are a lot more select in how they hunt. They're not as scrappy.
Right, a coyote will just eat anything, yeah.
I mean, coyotes are known for eating all your cats and dogs and stuff, and wolves are pretty much like, I'd rather have a deer or an elk. You know what I mean? Like, they're not as... They'd rather have a bigger win,
big
right?
prize, yeah. Well, anyway.
So, that was dark. But anyway, so that, yes, I have seen a wolf.
I don't know how we tie that in. Is it like the wolves of PR?
Yes, the wolves
of PR. The wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, so our news of the day is that Tesla did not run a Super Bowl ad, but a tech CEO calling for a boycott of Tesla did, which I think is very interesting.
Did you watch the Super Bowl, or did you see that commercial?
I watched part of it at a bar with a friend, and we were sort of paying attention.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so I missed it. So
So
what was
so the so the Dawn Project ran the Super Bowl ad for the second consecutive year, and the ads alleged that Tesla's driver assist feature caused accidents and urged viewers to boycott Tesla. This project was founded by Dan O'Dowd, who runs a competing software company. And basically, one of the ads shows two clips. One is a Tesla hitting a truck at an intersection, and another is a Tesla failing to stop at a stop sign and hitting a parked car. And then another ad alludes to an accident where a self-driving Tesla failed to stop for a school bus and put, quote, a child on a ventilator with a fractured neck and broken leg. So the video appears to be referencing this accident from last year when a 10th grade student from North Carolina was hit by a Tesla. And in April, there was like another local news report that the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration was investigating whether autopilot had been in use during the incident. The ads say Tesla must be held accountable, boycott Tesla to keep your family safe, which I think is very interesting. So knowing how expensive
$7 million for 30 seconds.
for a project to go that hard after someone else, that is
Right. So what's the PR?
aggressive.
That's the advertising sort of, hardware of it. But what's the public relations, I don't know, effect or approach on here?
Well, it's another Tesla nightmare, right? For communications, in addition to what just happened recently, which I know,
Right.
yeah, all of which is interesting against the context of us knowing that Elon Musk essentially refuses to use a PR team.
Right.
Right. And so I feel like this is just more evidence of the fact that Elon Musk is not prioritizing PR and he's just landing himself in these situations and assuming that he's invincible and that Tesla's invincible because of the size and, clout of the
And
brand.
he's such a genius and blah, blah,
Right.
blah. Right.
And these
So, but do
stupid
we,
communications people and, blah, blah, blah.
right, right. Anybody can do that. I can do it. It doesn't, we don't even need to do it. Right. We've had that
Yeah.
discussion before. So, do we think that this ad is showing that Tesla is ultimately a safety failure? And if you drive a Tesla, you're murdering people or
Right.
whatever.
And like
And
this on top of the recalls, which all
right.
happened 2 weeks before, right?
Yeah. And their sales, I think, are down.
Yes, they are. And I think in general, what's important here, it kind of goes back to what I always talk about. You have to do what you say before you can say what you do. And this is an example of where Tesla's actually not,
Doing
you
it's very
know,
Steve Jobs of you to say that. I feel like he was the master of doing what he said before saying what he did. Yeah.
but he's kind of not doing that. And he's also not saying what he does, but I mean, if you don't get the fundamentals right, then you're in a lot of trouble, right? So it's
Right.
like there's no way to cover that. I mean, I don't even know exactly how a crisis PR person could fix this at this point because if the company's actual technology is failing so badly and causing such concerns with safety and recalls, how would you even as a PR agency?
Right. Respond.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I wonder if he did. I wonder if he did anything. It doesn't say in this article what his response was.
I just said Tesla refused to respond. They were going to try their hand at advertising for the first time as a brand, first time in the whole company's history last year, but they still haven't made it to the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, they said so. The Dawn Project said the organization spent $552,000 on the Super Bowl ads this year.
But what? So what is this guy just trying to point out that his company is better and because he's a competitor
I mean, I think it's largely that, right?
and
So
throw Elon
he's
under the
taking
bus? 'Cause it's
that's
fun.
a very expensive pot shot. But it's also good, really good. So it's bad PR for Tesla, but it's great PR for them. And especially if they're trying to take Tesla down and that's their main competitor.
And to keep something like that quiet, right,
And
under wraps,
then
until it's
everyone's
like,
gonna talk about it, right? Oh my God, this ad on the I'm not buying a Tesla. Who's buying a Tesla? That's irresponsible. Teslas kill people. And
we'll see
the
though. Will it
automated
have an impact?
did you happen to see the new film that's out on Netflix that they were pushing? But it was basically in the film, it was sort of a, end of times kind of, everything goes haywire. We don't really know why. And as part of it, all of the automated cars start driving into the same place on the interstate and create a buildup so that no one can actually drive anywhere. And that also kind of felt to me like somebody taking another shot at Tesla. God, I can't think of the name of it.
I'm going to eat this Oreo while we're waiting. Speaking of ads at the Super Bowl.
Okay, so the name of the movie, for anybody that wants to watch it, which honestly, full disclosure, I think it's kind of an awful movie, although Julia Roberts is brilliant in it. It sort of leaves you in this like, that was a ride, but it doesn't feel like there's what, how do you say it? Aware there? Like it was like what there they like, why did I watch this? What was it in the end, right? It's just this like very weird thing, and chemicals or blast things happening, and then this kid's teeth fall out, but like it's never clear why. It's just like it's bonkers. So it's true.
But wait, what's the connection with this movie to?
Because in the movie they basically also shit on self-driving cars.
Oh, so maybe that's a veiled reference to Tesla.
So it's almost like a product placement, but anti-product placement, right?
Right. So it was an anti-ad. That movie's an anti-product placement. So there's a lot of people since he doesn't want to
people going
himself,
after Tesla.
People are trying to deposition him.
Yes.
So not only is he not positively positioning himself, but people are negatively positioning. And I still think that he has an ego like many male world leaders and business people out there, that he thinks he's invincible, and he may not be entirely wrong. I don't know how do you prove that he's wrong? I mean, do we really think that like 0 Teslas are going to be sold? No, but maybe it will get to the point where it's economically impossible to survive. I don't know. What point do you say they got him? He's failing.
Well, and the other thing that I question is how much is it really about Tesla at all, and how much is it about Elon Musk and people sort of just overall hatred of not liking him because of X and his, kind of anti-censorship push and things. Like, is this a takedown of Tesla aimed at Elon Musk more than the brand? Probably.
Tesla so this is like subliminal PR in the advertising, in the movie that you just mentioned.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And then it seeps into the public consciousness, which is, of course,
right. And it's
relations, right? It's like trying to relate to the public.
Right. But most subliminal PR is trying to promote your product in a weird way. This is to try to de-promote your competitor or the guy you don't like or whatever. Yeah. Very interesting.
I think it's interesting too.
That's all I have to say about that.
That's all. That same. All right. So you ready for the horror story, Laura?
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Horror story of the week. Okay. Or of the podcast. Do not open till podcast. Hi, April and Laura. So I had a senior manager at my last job who was a big fan of, quote, candid feedback. That was usually very non-productive. I'm okay with constructive criticism, and I've gotten a lot of it in my PR career, as I'm sure you ladies know. But this manager's feedback was always very personal, more than professional. So this manager was an SVP. I was an SAE, and I had a normal day-to-day manager, and this senior person was my higher level mentor to help me with my broader career trajectory. Her feedback included things like, you dress too loud. If I wore anything other than black, beige, or solid color blouse. I like to have fun with my work outfits, but I always stick to something professional and then add fun accessories. Number 2, another one, you laugh and smile too much for a professional setting.
I had somebody say that to me once. Go on.
I think I'm a friendly person, but I've never had a boss tell me this before. Number 3, you aren't transparent enough with your teams. This one came when I took a couple of days off for a doctor's appointment, but didn't want to share the details because it was related to a health scare. I was not really ready to talk about it before knowing if I had the issue. They were screening me for at my appointment. So her feedback was never about my work, always about my personality. So I honestly did not try very hard to implement it. And maybe that is a mistake. I've moved on since to a new role, but sometimes her feedback makes me self-conscious at my new job. Should I be applying some of this stuff in my current role?
I had somebody tell me that I laugh too much or whatever. And I think when I was laughing, it was because this manager was very hard and awkward to deal with. So that was nervous laughter, me to try to be like, ha ha ha. But it was ridiculous. And those kind of comments about your clothes, especially if you're a professional, right? You didn't show up in a bikini or something to the office, or you're not wanting to talk about the details of your, health issues, et cetera, et cetera. That tells more about the person saying that to you, and it has nothing to do with you. It's their
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
insecurity. It's their problem. And
Yeah.
no, do not apply it. These are not like learnings. These
Yeah.
are that person has problems and they're trying to project them onto you.
Yes. The closest thing I have in my past that is reminiscent of this is that I was back in New York. I had buzzed hair like Sinead O'Connor, and I kind of had this different look, let's say, and I would wear suits every day. So I would wear suits with like a buzz haircut, right?
I had super
And
short hair too. Funny. Go on.
and I worked very closely with another woman who, she's still one of my best friends to this day. And we became, really close. And we went to every meeting together because our jobs were parallel. I don't want to give too many details because I don't want to give it away. But at any rate, so we would show up for meetings and the president would tell everyone that we were a couple.
Oh my god. Like that would never happen now. Or if it did, it would be epic.
And
Oh
I
my
didn't I
god.
didn't really care, and neither did she, but it sure made for a very awkward introduction because then they were sort of like,
Is
is
he telling the truth or
right, and
not?
then you're like, do we correct him or just leave it? But it's too weird to say, no, we're not, right? Like, hi, nice to meet you. It was like during new business pitches.
What? So that again is telling of your boss's insecurity that these women, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, as far as I knew, he liked my hair, but and thought it was cool and edgy, but
There
I
was
don't
something that he felt like he had to explain it or make a joke about it though, right?
maybe that was what it was, right? So, but did it make me grow my hair out? No. It did not. I left it. I didn't care.
There was
But
a woman I worked with who had long braids, and we were in the office of this guy that we worked for, and he was ripping us to shreds. And this is very well, I can't if I tell the exact story, it'll be too close to home.
okay.
The bottom line was he was yelling at us for something kind of ridiculous. We're both sitting there and she was going like this, see how I have my hands on my hair with her braids. And he's like, will you stop touching your braids? What are you doing? Screamed at her. And she was like she didn't even know she was doing it. It was one of those
Oh
things
my.
so she like put her hands and then he continued on berating us. And she answered him. And all of a sudden she started going like this again with her hand on her braids and literally didn't realize she was doing it. And he had a conniption. And it was all, he was
I don't
horrifying.
know.
And it was all about him.
Yeah, nothing to so I would say to this person, definitely don't try to implement it. Just assume that it was about that person at that place and that your new place is never in a million trillion years going to think any of those things about you. Try not to be self-conscious, just be yourself. And,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you need to be at a firm where you feel like you can be yourself. I
Aren't
don't,
you supposed to bring your whole self to work these days? Isn't that
yeah,
the whole thing?
we're supposed to be embracing diversity and inclusivity, right? So
Right.
everyone's supposed to be different. I don't think we should all, and that's a lot of why trust relations, that's very important to me, that everyone can be themselves, right? If you have tongue rings, nose rings, tattoos, I don't care. Who cares? Because the other thing is nowadays your clients are oftentimes more diverse like that too, and they appreciate it. So you don't just look like you came out of central casting wearing pearls and black suits and
Totally. Like I used to do begrudgingly sometimes.
same.
How about can you, wait, oh, wrong way.
Is that a
It's a cow,
tattoo?
it's a cow sticking its tongue out.
Is it a tattoo?
Yeah, but it's just a temporary tattoo.
I had a feeling. You don't strike me as a tattoo girl.
No,
I don't
it's
have any either. I'm afraid of needles. I would never.
it is well, first of all, it was illegal until the late 90s in New York. And I only have my ears pierced once in each ear. I'm rebelling against rebelling.
Okay. I see that.
Like, I'm taking it a step further.
So Laura, what's your advice for this person as we close it out?
So, the final question from our anonymous person was, should I be applying some of this stuff in my current role? And I think we both agree that based on what we were told, that no, you should not be applying anything.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree.
I mean, it's good to be self-reflective, reflective. But I understand because I have that problem too. I'm pretty sure I'm right, but one of the good and bad things about me is I always see the other side, and I'm like, well, I guess I could understand that too. So it's hard to be like, no, I'm right, and I know I'm right, and but I will tell you in this one, you're are right, and you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, agreed. I fully agree. All
Okay,
right, well, on that note, should we wrap it up?
certainly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for the PR Wind Down podcast.
And remember to submit your own agency stories and questions and to share our show with your friends and colleagues. If you subscribe and leave us a rating, it'll help us to reach new listeners like you.
Can't wait to
Can't,
wind down with you again next time.
we can't. We just can't. Well, my cat tried to kill me today, so I was, in the bathroom drying my hair, and she came in the bathroom and she like rubbed up against one leg, like, oh, oh, I love
No,
you. And she turned around and put her paw
no.
around my other leg and went and bit my ankle with her paw around me, like she was, going to eat me, take me down.
Did she?
No. I don't want to just be like a normal person. And so the next step is to rebel and like, get tattoos and piercings. And so I'm like, well, that I don't want to be that's too close to normal. I want to be one step away from that. So my normalness is actually beyond not being normal.
So funny.
It's so me.
So funny.
Ah.
I love it.